Good afternoon. My name is Stephen McCauley. I come to you, the board and the city councils. I just want to present you guys some information about fire prevention and the best ways to keep our city and community safe. I'm just going to jump right into it and dive right into it because I know you guys as a city council have the same basic want and concept of our society and our city and the people of our community to be safe at all times. So that's why I'm here, is just to help you jump in to learn, train, and teach you guys some better steps and basic steps of fire prevention that will help you guys as a board make decisions. So like I said, I'm just going to jump right into it. The basic concepts of education with fire prevention, it's actually really simple. It's just this right here. It's informing people around you and training individuals and training organizations and companies and other different things about basic fire safety practices in general. Some of the things that fall under the basic fire safety practices is things like the building codes and how important it is to comply with those codes, not only for the OSHA standards to keep money in companies' pockets, but you as a city council, if you're allowing a company to not follow through and abide by those codes, that city now becomes liable and faces lawsuit if the worst happens in case of a fire that could have been prevented. So it is very important to have knowledge and learn and have the education on basic fire prevention. Like I said, it's things like training individuals and organizations, making sure that we have the compliance. And the coolest part about it is educational workshops are available with the local fire department here in San Diego County. So they come out to jobs, they come out to work sites, they come out to all over the place and just do all sorts of different workshops, teaching, giving seminars, giving training, and so on. They actually have a lot of public awareness campaigns, and that's really what they aim. They really try to go and help the community to be prepared. Another step of fire prevention is the enforcement. This refers to the implementation of being monitored and staying compliant. So for instance, you would have OSHA inspectors, you would have the fire marshal come out, the fire department themselves, they'll come out and do basic inspections, making sure that you're following, you have your fire extinguishers up to date, your emergency exit alarms work for if there's a fire. If you have a fire suppression sprinkler system, they'll make sure that that's intact and working properly and just that it responds the way it should. The engineering side of things is also where you guys as city council come into play when there's new construction and things like that the city is doing. That's something, having the knowledge of fire prevention, having the fire suppression system, the sprinkler systems in buildings, especially city government buildings, it's important to have just because of all the different risks and threats that come along with being a city building, for instance. But the other part of engineering is you want to make sure that the smoke detectors are there and that there's a safe egress routes and exits available when it comes to these systems and having the best engineering possible for anything building related, construction related, things like that. So here in San Diego County is our code enforcement is done by the fire marshal of San Diego County. He has specific inspectors that work under his department that no longer will physically go fight the fires, but their job is solely to come out. They're usually the ones that give you the workshops, the training, and the education. But these guys are the ones that solely come out and will inspect. And they will help they'll do all the inspections of new construction as well as the business that are already existing. So, for instance, our local grocery store is called Vons. So once a month, actually twice a month, you will see our local fire department, their fire truck parked right out front, and they will be inside doing a full-on fire inspection, making sure everything is intact and in order, that all the exits are available, and so forth. So really, again, looking out for the people, the community, just making sure not only on the business side of things, but as a customer has to be able to evacuate quickly. So the fire department will make sure that there's nothing blocking, no end cap hindering that exit to make sure that people are safe. So it's really good. They also, our code enforcement also works with the IBC, which is the International Building Code. So any new construction project must cross the desk of an IBC engineer. They have to okay and give the go-ahead for the construction project to move forward. We also work with the NFPA, which is the National Fire Protection Association. We actually report quarterly. The San Diego County Fire Departments report quarterly to them. And that is actually where they get all of, I found out that is where they get all of the information that they use for training, workshops, and so on. There is an application of code to new and existing occupancies, as I was talking about. So for new occupancies, the code is applied during the design and the construction process. A lot of times, any new building going up in our area comes to you guys, the city council, for you to vote yes or no. Can that business build? Can they exist? And so on. Well, one of the things that has to be included is fire prevention and fire safety. So in that construction project, if you guys see a construction company come in here with no engineer, no fire prevention, I would hope you would vote no on that now that you're going to be fully educated. Existing occupancies, like I said, that is where the fire department will just go do random checks, sometimes random scheduled, but they usually, when they have issues with businesses, that's when they go more than once or twice, and they just decide to figure out a way and a plan to help them be more efficient and make the changes they need before they get in trouble, fined by OSHA and so on. So our local organizations that determine fire resistance, so like I said, we work with the NFPA, but our building department actually plays a huge role when it comes to this. So the materials that are used have to meet a certain OSHA code as it is, and most construction companies follow the OSHA code and go with that. But they fail to realize that fire prevention and that the actual NFPA plays a role in what can be used in materials, because obviously you're not going to go build something that can combust and just go up in flames and allow someone to get hurt. So it's very big knowing what material we are using and moving forward. So some of the types of tests for our fire ratings that we run, we actually run the ASTM E119 test for fire resistance. So we want to make sure that any building, any new construction project, any material that's going to be used will be run through this test for the building elements. And then we also use the ASTM E84 test for surface burning characteristics. So we want to find out what kind of materials will just burn on the surface that could again cause problems. If materials don't pass these two tests, then you as a city council, I would hope you guys would determine that this building could not be built, this company could not move forward with any construction project that they have going until they pass these two tests. So there is an application for fire tests and ratings. And so the fire tests and ratings are crucial for inspection and code enforcement. So we have to have a ladder mark to where we need to know what applies and what doesn't apply for the safety of the building components. So we actually use our inspectors use these ratings to verify that your materials are actually going to meet the standards and the needs that will allow the project to move forward. Because during these tests and during these inspections, that's actually where, before the building even starts to be built, that's where we find out any potential hazards before first nail is even drawn through. So it is very big to know what kind of inspection and tests that we are moving forward with. So I hope you as a board would latch on and be more educated, so we know what can help prevent and keep people safe. So there are a few different types of characteristics of unsafe structures in our area that exist around here. There's a lot of outdated electrical. We are close to the beach, so people and companies fail to keep up to date with technology, especially electrical things, just because buildings close to the beach, the sand, the corrosion, and things like that happen, it's common, it's general. But it needs to be stopped. The enforcement team needs to really put a press on these companies, because it is making people unsafe. So again, I hope you as a city council can address this with businesses and hold them accountable to make sure that they are being held to the standard that they need to be across the board. Type V construction is any type of combustible material such as wood. Those pose significant hazards. And fire can spread very rapidly with wood. So we actually have to have a type V construction site. So this type of construction is residential buildings and requires careful attention to fire safety measures. Improving our safety plans through plan reviews and structural control is the best way that we can improve our overall fire prevention and fire safety knowledge for everybody in our community. Our plans review structural control, and they most definitely can drastically improve the safety of our unsafe structures that already exist. So by ensuring that all our new designs are going to comply with fire safety codes, as well as incorporate fire resistant materials and systems such as a fire suppression sprinkler system. This proactive approach is really going to help the board gain the trust of the community, knowing that our city council is looking out for what is best for them and their overall safety when they're out in public or in their neighborhood. This also will help prevent any hazards being used. Having the knowledge as a board, you'll be able to deny a license or a permit for construction if materials that won't pass the required tests are being used. So you'll really be, again, it's all about safety for the people. Our jurisdiction effectively manages fire safety because they want to protect both property and the lives of people around them. So I come to you again, just wanting to offer the best possible education and training that you could have when it comes to fire prevention moving forward, when it comes to construction and things like that and new businesses. Thank you.